Welcome. I'm Pastor Brenda from New Beginnings Christian Community, and this is Sunday, the 13th of June, 2021. Today I'd like us to hear the subject, Are You Prepared to Live? From the text, John, the 5th chapter, verses 1 through 14, from the Voice translation. It reads thusly. When these events were completed, Jesus led his followers to Jerusalem, where they would celebrate a feast together. In Jerusalem they came upon a pool by the sheep gate, surrounded by 5 covered porches. In Hebrew, this place is called Bethesda. Crowds of people lined the area, lying around the porches. All of these people were disabled in some way. Some were blind, lame, paralyzed, or plagued by diseases, and they were waiting for the waters to move. From time to time, a heavenly messenger would come to stir the water in the pool. Whoever reached the water first and got in after it was agitated would be healed of his or her disease. In the crowd, Jesus noticed one particular man who had been living with his disability for 38 years. He knew this man had been waiting here a long time. Jesus said to the disabled man, "Why are you here in this place, hoping to be healed?" The disabled man said, "Kind sir, I wait, like all of these people, for the waters to stir, but I cannot walk. If I am to be healed in the waters, someone must carry me into the pool. Without a helping hand, someone else beats me to the water's edge each time it is stirred." Jesus said, "Stand up, carry your mat, and walk." At the moment Jesus offered these words, a healing energy coursed through the man and returned life to his limbs. He stood and walked for the first time in 38 years. But this was the Sabbath day, and any work, including carrying a mat, was prohibited on this day. The Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "Must you be reminded that it is the Sabbath? You are not allowed to carry your mat that day." The man who had been healed said, "The one who healed me gave me specific instructions to carry my mat and go." The Jewish leaders said, "Who is the man who gave you these instructions? How can we identify him?" The man genuinely did not know who it was that healed him. In the midst of the crowd and the excitement of his renewed health, Jesus had slipped away. Sometimes later, Jesus found him in the temple and again spoke to him. "Take a look at your body. It has been made whole and strong. So avoid a life of sin, or else a calamity greater than any disability may befall you." Are you prepared to live? The notes from the Voice translation say that Jesus takes his disciples at this point to one of the most miserable places they have ever seen. The suffering and impurity is frightening, but he comes to serve these precious people. Pastor Liz asked me for 8 years straight if I would come and help her with the ministry at New Beginnings, and I said no, because I considered New Beginnings, the ministry there, to be that it would have to be among miserable people in miserable places, and I didn't want to go there. Come to find out, we're all miserable people, and every place is miserable without God. We are full of diseases. We are lame and paralyzed, blind, and plagued by diseases of the mind, heart, and spirit if we will not open ourselves to be prepared to live. And so this passage strikes me particularly as I have people in my family whom I've asked, "Are you prepared to live?" I have people among my acquaintances whom I ask in my head and in my heart, and to them, "Are you prepared to live?" In this place that Jesus had brought the disciples, called the Pool of Bethesda, there are folks who have come because they need to be healed. They recognize that something is wrong with them. They recognize further that they can't fix what is wrong with them on their own. So they come to the place where it is known that sometimes a healing happens. Now they know very well the circumstances by which healing occurs. Number one, you got to get to the right place. Number two, you got to get in the pool at the right time. Number three, if you can't get in yourself, somebody's going to have to help you get in yourself. So you got to be in the right place at the right time and have the right people around you, the right resources, so that you may have the chance of healing. And Jesus, who is God, is the great I am, has come to this place specifically to heal a particular human being, a disabled man who cannot walk, who has been disabled, who has not been able to walk for 38 years. This man has been by the pool of Bethesda for all this time because he knows it is the place where healing can happen. He knows that it has happened for others. He hopes that it can happen for him. One might think he is in despair, and after 38 years I would not blame him, but his hope is such, and maybe his despair is equally such, that he doesn't go anywhere. He stays there on the off chance that he will be at the right place at the right time, and someone will have the right heart to help him into the pool at precisely the time the waters are stirred, so that he can be healed. He does not know that he can do those things. All those circumstances will come together at the right time for him to be healed. But he knows that it can't happen anywhere else. He does not know if someone will be there to help him get into the pool, but he knows that he can't get into the pool if he's not by the pool. Not only does he know that, but there are many people around him who know that they are in the right place for a possible healing to occur for them. They don't know the circumstances under which it'll be just right for them to have their healing, but they know they are in the right place for the possibility of healing. And my complaint with the church many times is that people are coming to church because they know it's the right place for them to get a healing if a healing is possible, and they hang around as long as they can, and sometimes they never get a healing because the circumstances do not come together well enough for the healing to happen. Either they stop believing, or the people who say they believe they're with them don't really believe, or more probably, those who are there with them in the place where healing can happen do not understand their role in the healing process. It isn't just that the people there wanting and needing to be healed don't understand what the process will take, but those around them don't understand their role in the healing process either. Jesus, who is the great healer, the great hope of humanity, has come to the pool of Bethesda on this day particularly to meet a man who has been there for 38 long years, waiting to be healed. And he says to the man in the Voice translation, "Are you here in this place hoping to be healed?" I translate the verse, "Are you prepared to live?" My brothers and sisters, it is easy just to lay down and die. Not to have to worry about the bills and relationships and what you did wrong or what you did wrong or what you didn't do at all. It's easy to say, I give up. I'm not going to struggle anymore. I'm not going to worry about it. Just lay down. But if you and I decide to live, we have to make preparation to live. You see, If I am prepared to live, if you are prepared to live, it won't be enough just to lie around the pool of healing, the pool of Bethesda, hoping someone will push us in. That's not being prepared to live. Jesus says in the King James translation, do you want to be made whole? Do you want to be well? That's a profound question. You and I must ask ourselves that question at various points in our lives. And in this text, Jesus puts the question to this man. Are you here in this place hoping to be healed? Do you want to be made well? Are you prepared to live? When we're dealing with God, we have to ask the right questions. Or when God asks us the question, we have to be able to hear what God is saying to us. And the man doesn't actually answer the question. He says why he's hoping, but he knows he can't get what he hopes for. He hopes and he's still waiting, but he says, I'm like everybody else here. I'm waiting for the waters to stir, but I cannot walk. So if I'm going to be healed in the waters, somebody must carry me to the pool. Without a helping hand, someone else beats me to the water's edge each time it is stirred. Do you hear what he just said? I'm here because I know this is where I'm supposed to be healed, but I can't walk. So if I'm going to be healed in the waters, somebody must carry me into the pool. Without somebody carrying me into this pool, without someone helping me, someone else beats me to the water's edge each and every time it is stirred in the last 38 years. He's been there 38 years, hoping that someone among the people around the pool of Bethesda will look at him and see his need and help him into the water at just the right time so that he can receive the healing possible at that time. And Jesus, who is the great healer, who came particularly to see this man at this time in this place so that he could receive the healing that he has been hoping for the last 38 years, says, stand up, carry your mat, and walk. Now, that's an extraordinary thing to say to someone who has not walked in 38 years. And all the hope that this man has carried with him, that's almost gone for 38 years. When he hears the voice of God, when he hears Jesus, he stands up. He doesn't think about it. He responds to the Holy Spirit. He stands up, something he's not been able to do. In 38 years, he carries his mat and he walks away just as Jesus told him to. Because at the moment Jesus uttered the word, stand up, carry your mat, and walk, healing energy coursed through the man and he returned, the life returned to his limbs. So he stood up and walked for the first time in 38 years. But this was the Sabbath day, and the rules of religion say you can't do any work on the Sabbath, including carrying a mat, because that was prohibited on this day. The note says, it's impossible to imagine this man's excitement. His entire life has been defined by illness. If you've ever been in pain or you've ever been unwell, you know for those moments, months, those years, all that is you is defined by the pain, by the illness, by the unwellness. Everything about you is defined by those moments of brokenness. While you're broken, while I'm broken, while we're healing, all kinds of feelings set in. We can't do what we used to do. We need to depend on others to do what nobody else needs to depend on others to do. Sometimes we become ashamed of our brokenness. Sometimes we are angry and disgusted at ourselves because we can't do any better. All kinds of negative feelings set in, so that when it comes to healing, the healing is not the healing necessary for this man, for you, and for me, is not just physical. After time, the healing becomes emotional. The healing needs to be mental. The healing needs to be spiritual. In fact, we need to be delivered from those things that beset us. Body doesn't work, the mind starts thinking about what it means that the body doesn't work. Oh, it must means that I'm no good. Oh, I don't deserve to have the good things of life, or I deserve to have this illness, this disability. All these things come together and we become bound. The wonder is that this man, who has been by the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, still has the faintest glimmer of hope that he might be healed. And many people who come to church come with the faintest glimmer of hope that they might be healed from whatever lameness, whatever blindness, whatever disease they have of mind, body, or spirit. They come with the faintest hope that they might be healed. And sometimes you and I, brothers and sisters, leave them languishing by their own pool of Bethesda because we don't know how to help them in. We don't know that we're supposed to help them in, or we don't know to point them to the one who can, in fact, make sure they can dip in the pool by Bethesda and receive their healing. But the beginning of you and I accessing our own healing or helping someone else to get their healing is to ask, are you by this place hoping to be healed? Do you want to be made whole? Are you prepared to live? If you and I are prepared to live, then there are some things we're going to have to get in order. When we're sick, when we can't do any better, we let things go by the by, and that's all right because we don't have the energy, the wherewithal to get those things done. But life comes at us whether we're willing or not, and to be prepared to live, we've got to begin to get our houses in order. We've got to begin to open the bills that we have not opened because we have been depressed. We've got to begin to go to get the help that we know we need, that we've been putting off. We've got to tell somebody, I am depressed, I need this, I need that. Will you help me to get there? We have to engage ourselves. You see, because it cannot be that I expect you to do all the running and ripping and planning for me, and I'll just sit back and let you do for me what I must do for myself. But I have to engage my hope. And when God sends people around you and I to ask, are you in this place hoping to be healed? Which is translated, are you prepared to live? You and I must say, yes, I am prepared to prepare to live. Because the truth is, most of us don't know what it takes to live. But we begin by saying, I'm not going to die. Today, I am preparing to live. Amen.